So we were on page 35, I think, correct? So we had done the first sutra. A person with a sharp mind and an iron will can do almost anything. And we had talked about it that our mind, our mental ability is what God has given to us as our instrument to solve problems, to make our life better. But the mind will only tell us what to do. Then you need the will, so that what the mind is saying you should do this, you actually do it. It's like we talked about going to the gym, or doing physical exercises. Mind will say, okay, weight is going up, better do exercise. But then the will is required to actually make mark time out to get down and do things. So the will is necessary, that we act out what the mind is asking us to. And if you think about it, our inner reflection, firm resolution practice is what? There is awareness, which is the mind becoming aware of something, and then the will, which is saying, okay, firm resolution, I resolve firmly not to repeat this mistake. So that is what our inner reflection, firm resolution practice is all about. It again essentially incorporates, or it's a way that Master has given us to implement the mental and the will aspects. Okay, are you sure what you are saying is really correct? Sorry. Are you sure what you are saying is really correct? You see, a lot of times we don't want to be, it's not like intentionally we are being untruthful, but a lot of times it is because of ignorance, or it is because we have been misinformed. Now, you see, you have to understand, if I tell you something because somebody told me something and I did not cross check it, and that thing is not true. Are you understanding? Somebody told me something and I am passing it on to you without cross checking. Now, when I am creating the untruthful or unrealistic portrayal to you, it is my karma. So, for example, WhatsApp forwards. So we need to cross check, double check. And Master talks about industriousness. He talks about mental industriousness, which I'm sure later in the book we will cover that. So he talks about, this is an example of mental industriousness. Verify, cross check, double check. You can listen to everybody, but you must verify before you accept it. Now, supposing I tell you something which I have not verified, I must clearly say, I have not verified it, I have not confirmed it, so and so was saying this, I am saying this to you. Your if it turns out to be untrue, your karma will be somewhat reduced. Yeah. Do not use honesty to hurt other people. Do not use honesty as an excuse to be verbally sadistic. Verbally sadistic sadism is when we enjoy giving pain to other people. That is, the definition of sadism. So verbally, how can we be sadistic? We say things, and in the end, we say, "Oh, I'm just being honest. I see that you don't like it, but I'm just being honest." That is not, according to Master, that is not acceptable. It should not be our intention to hurt other people. So the honesty should not be used like a knife. All right. At the same time, we should not make it an excuse that, I'm being untruthful because I want to be kind and loving. Yes? We've talked about this earlier also. So let's move on. People who do not know a lot make a lot of noise like an empty drum. So I'm sure you've come across such people who compensate for their lack of knowledge by their loudness, or by their shouting and so on. You remember earlier on, I think 2 or 3 pages, maybe page 29 or 30, we used the term bullheadedness, emotional. Master gave a sutra which used the term emotional bullheadedness. So this is an example of emotional bullheadedness. The person doesn't know, but by being forceful, by being loud, that person is trying to convince others that what I'm saying is true. So this is where discernment comes in. This is where questioning, you remember we talked about questioning? Questioning comes in. And especially when somebody is being aggressive or very loud, it maybe takes a little courage, but you have to question. There are some interesting sayings in Hindi, like, khali dhol baje jada. So, the empty drums, they make a lot of noise. Okay, move on. If you want to understand deep esoteric teachings, you must practice a high degree of honesty. So you remember we've talked about this many times. Every time you are being dishonest, there is a veil, like a covering coming over your mind. If you don't practice dishonesty, if you are very, very honest, your karmic result is that those veils are removed and your mind becomes, like Master said I think on the previous page itself, you see, he says your mind becomes razor sharp. Now, to understand esoteric, you understand esoteric? Esoteric means of the inner world. Exoteric means of the outer world. So, for example, physics and chemistry, they are exoteric knowledge. But esoteric knowledge is when we talk about spirituality, what Master has taught to us in the soul class or in Arhatic Yoga and so on. Those are esoteric teachings. So since these cannot be examined, they cannot be sensed. Your senses don't really work there in the esoteric teachings. There you need this sharp, sharp mind to comprehend, understand, internalize those. Practicing a high degree of honesty is the key to becoming a genius. So honesty, mind, again we've seen, your mind becomes very, very sharp, razor sharp is the term that Master used. So your problem solving ability improves, your ability to solve, life problems. Also your ability to see how can I improve myself, which is what evolution is. We need to keep getting better. So how can what are the areas that require improvement? How can I improve it? How can I keep improving? With a sharp mind, this becomes much easier also. Now, just keep in mind that it does not necessarily mean having a high IQ. No IQ, intelligence quotient, not necessary. So, for example, people like Sachin Tendulkar or Roger Federer, in their own fields, they are geniuses. They may not be having great IQ. I don't know, but they may or may not be very academically very sound. Right? Shall we move on? Let's turn the page 36. Maintain humility. You have to be honest with yourself. Self-honesty results in rapid spiritual development and humility. Self-honesty, let's read the next sutra also. They are quite interconnected. Self-honesty is what you call humility. You have to be aware of your strong points and your weak points. To progress spiritually, one must have awareness, self-honesty, and the will to transform. Now, the first sutra we did today, the last line is just a reminder of that. You need to have awareness. And with awareness, you need to be honest. Because, if you are not honest, then that awareness will not work. So, awareness. Then awareness with self-honesty means we are able to accept, yes, I need to change in this. And then when the will is applied to it, then the transformation actually happens. It may take time, but then the transformation will definitely take place. Okay, before that, so this entire page is about self-honesty, which is very, very important. Why? Because self-delusion, lying to ourselves, being dishonest to ourselves is a big, big, big problem. You see, we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses. Now, what we need to do is to be aware of the strengths and the weaknesses and work on them. What is the work required on the strengths? You need to maintain and maybe progress. What is required on the weaknesses? We need to reduce them and replace them by the positive attributes or positive habits. But if we are not honest, what will happen in the end? We will lose the strengths and we will strengthen the weaknesses. Let me repeat. If we are not practicing honesty to ourselves, we are in denial or, whatever we have deluded about ourselves, you will find that your strength is becoming weaker and your weaknesses are increasing. And one aspect about weaknesses which will help you, if at least some of you are on the erratic path, so you are aware that, there are those 5 pillars and each pillar has many, many sub pillars. There are things you're supposed to practice them on a regular basis, all the pillars. But there are some that you enjoy, some you don't enjoy. Am I right? There are some activities as a part of your daily practice or your spiritual progress. There are things you need to do which you know and you enjoy them, and there are some things you know you have to work on but you don't enjoy. Now, I think the teaching is that what you don't enjoy, you have not worked upon in the past lives. You are aware there are many lives. So things that you enjoy or you are good at, those you have developed already in the past lives. In this life, it is those things that you don't enjoy doing so much or those that are difficult for you, those are your higher priority for this lifetime. And how do we delude ourselves? How do we practice dishonesty? Some popular ways. One is that you just denial mode. No, I don't have this problem. So I've come across many people who are somewhat overweight. They need to lose weight, but they will say, no, I just have a hormonal problem. It's not, I hardly eat anything. Or if not denial, it may be, you may say, well, so what? I have this problem, but so many other people have this problem. You say it's not a problem because so many people have it. So that is another form of denial. Now, the third method of delusion is actually the worst, where we say, oh, what could I do? I had no choice. So, for example, my assistant, he or she made a mistake and I shouted. I was, verbally very violent. And then later I tried to rationalize. Oh, what could I do? The mistake was so big. Or I may be weak in mathematics, but I deny. No, it's okay. I'm all right. It's okay. I'm pretty good in maths. But if I'm deluded, what will happen when the exam will come? Then I will get caught out. Similarly, if we are not self-honest, we will have difficulties in life, and of course, spiritual progress will be slow. Very, very slow. And we will have to learn through the hard school, the difficult school of karma, where we will get difficulties in our lives because of our dishonesty, lack of self-honesty. We are continuing to make mistakes, and the karmic results keep forcing us to accept those mistakes. So, what do we have to do? What Master says in the last line: awareness, become aware. Yes, this is an issue, this is a problem. Practice self-honesty, that will lead to your accepting the flaw or the weakness. Then apply will to correct it, and that will lead to transformation. All right. So that let's end the session here today.